it. I think I've certainly gotten a few emails of citizens that are, maybe even commission members, that are concerned that maybe there were additional things. I know that when the council had the opportunity last to talk about this and review it, I don't believe Mr. Nephew or myself were here, and I had understood in listening to the DVD of that meeting that the council was actually going to have another opportunity to be able to really fully review the comprehensive plan draft once Mr. Nephew and myself were here. And so my follow-up question to that concern of mine, and I don't know, maybe it's Mr. Nephew's concern too, I'm not sure, but is if we table this so that the council can have a full council discussion of this draft, this final draft, how does that impact the timetable?
Perhaps Dewey can speak more clearly to that. I know that the request was made to the Metropolitan Council for the extension, and I'm not sure what those dates are, so.
Madam Mayor, Council, it's the end of May. The plan has to be submitted to the Met Council by the end, May 31st or May 30th, May 29th.
Well, that's with the comment of the other
With-
jurisdiction.
correct.
Mm-hmm. And so what if it, let's say one of the, or a couple of the jurisdictions want to take their full 6 months, what happens then?
Madam Mayor, Council, staff would work real aggressively with those cities and attempt to get those comments ahead of time so we could comply with that May 29th date. So at this point, it would be up to staff to work with the surrounding cities and ensure that they get their comments in on a schedule that would accommodate staff meeting that proposed date. The deadline.
Because I think I do specifically recall when I was watching the DVD of that meeting that it was going to come back before the full councils when Mr. Nephew and I were here so that we could have that discussion about what this draft is that's being sent out. So I guess personally, if what you're saying to us is that what we're looking at as the draft is what we're sending out, and that really it's anticipated that this is indeed our draft version that we are anticipating is the final version, and that if we really are making any other changes, that we have to go through this whole addendum process. It sounds to me like it would be better to table this so that we have this full council discussion rather than trying to backpedal. And I appreciate the fact that we've only given us 5 months for jurisdictions to look at this, but I think we all know, quite frankly, that they have their 6 months, and yes, we're going to try to have them to work quicker at it, but I guess that's my commentary on that.
Madam Mayor.
Because, I have things I'd like to discuss tonight if that's what and I'm prepared to do so, but I don't think that that's necessarily what the other council members would like, and this is probably not the best time to have a full-fledged discussion about the draft comprehensive plan that we're sending out to jurisdictions. So.
Madam Mayor, Council, again, this is not your final attempt. The comp plan itself has to be approved by a super majority. So staff does anticipate that there will be additional discussions with council, and I suspect that we'll have to also include some commissions as well. So there will be other opportunities to look at the comp plan. This is in a draft format. It does require a simple majority, but before council approves the final, it will require a super majority. So we're going to have to ensure at that point that we've addressed those concerns.
Okay, but we still have to go through this addendum process that we just heard about, right?
Well, Madam Mayor, members of the council, might I add that I think the key word is substantive. If you change an entire land, for example, because we just talked about it, if you were to change an entire land use density category, the range, for instance, that would change a lot of the calculations in the document. I would say that that would be something that was substantive that needed to be communicated to the reviewing agencies. If you're comfortable with the density ranges, really that's kind of the heart of what this document is. It's letting people know what you intend to use your land for. And that's kind of the primary focus of this process. As Dewey referred to, this by no means is a final document, and I also anticipate that there are several more discussions that will be had with it. And once the plan comes back, you'll also see a lot of comments, just my guess, from agencies and the Metropolitan Council that you'll need to respond to as well. So it's not that this document as it stands today is the final by any means. So I guess if there's comfort level in the density ranges and the land use that's in there, I think that's the sort of the key part for moving forward in terms of sending it out to adjacent jurisdictions. In terms of the addendum, it could honestly be as easy as a one-page memo with a couple pages attached. So it's certainly not something that needs to be, a 25-page document or something of that nature. So addendum was just the best word I could think of to use for it.
Okay. Mr. Rosbach?
None of the comments that were at your forum were anywhere close to anything substantial. And so I don't understand why you're pressing this issue so much.
Well, because
can
I
comment.
listened to the DVD of the meeting that the three of you were at, that Mr. Nephew and I weren't at, and Rose Lorson specifically said, we're going through this kind of quick, but you know what, we'll be going through this again when we should be here with the full council.
And it sounds to me like that's exactly what's going to happen.
When's that?
We have a whole process. We have 9 months
5.
before
That's just for
final
other
adoption
jurisdictions to
by the
review.
Metropolitan Council.
We're going to have to hash over the comments that the other jurisdictions give to us and amend it further at that point.
Okay. Mr. Nephew?
No, that was from earlier.
Okay.
So I think it was Eric's prerogative.
Oh, no, by all means.
No.
You're doing a very good job making motions.
All the more reason to share the wealth. All right, I will move then, move to distribute the comprehensive plan and begin the adjacent and affected jurisdictional review period.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second before us. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Nephew, first to vote.
Aye.
Mayor votes no. Ms. Juniman?
Aye.
Mr. Jelly?
Aye.
Mr. Rosbach?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next then, we're moving along to the search process for city manager. Number 1 is to consider the calling of a special meeting for December 15th for the purpose of the selecting of final candidates.
Did that.
Very good.
I actually included that in my motion earlier.
Oh, okay, so you did,
finished
okay.
stuff.
Okay, very good. So I guess we have indeed already called that as part of another previous motion.
Hence Will's confusion.
Yes, so anyway, okay, so indeed, then for citizens who are watching, there will be a special meeting on December 15th, 2008. One quick question I had for Mr. Aldo with regard to this is that, will the packet of the resumes of like the 48 candidates or whatever, will they be available for the council to come in here prior to that meeting to be able to look at them like the Friday in advance?
I'm hoping so. I have a conversation planned with Mr. Bernard tomorrow, and I will let all the council know about that for sure. That's my understanding of how the process works, but I'll have to confirm that with him tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good. And I'm assuming that they're, the full resume, it's not just like his summaries?
That is my understanding as well.
Okay, good, wonderful, that's great.